Hello everybody, I'm here with Marisol Tovar, our 2024 president, and today we're going to be talking about our year, a little bit about NORA, and just three different things. So let me start with just a few questions. Who did you follow?
I came after Beto Guzman. I had already known about the organization. I was actually the first one to hold the road to homeownership along Manny Delgadillo. Probably back in 2017, that's when we first did. That's when I got introduced to NORA.
How long have you been in business?
So I would say about 20 plus years, yes.
Aside from just obviously the people that you knew, what else was what events maybe were drawing you to say, hey, I want to do this?
I believe in homeownership. It's one of the biggest things for our community, and I feel that we need to educate the community. Since I hold the first one at the library, I'm like, oh wow, this is like such a community base. We're here to educate our community on how to create generational wealth. So I believe that was probably the major one. But there were a few, like our adopted family, our backpack drive, those were already in place. And then we started with the wealthy series. Thanks to you, and your expertise, we started creating those series, the wealthy series.
Yeah, our rooms got bigger, huh?
Yeah, our rooms got bigger, more audience. And I mean, obviously our mission is to educate our community, create generational wealth, homeownership, but also we need to create leaders and also educate our real estate community.
Yeah. And it just, Marisol was actually when I first got involved. She didn't really tell me, hey, this is NORA, come. It was, come here. It was like, I've heard it said, I got voluntold. You were also a big part of our relationship with SAR. Up until that point, they knew about us, but you did a lot. Well, why did you think that partnership was so important, Mari?
I was spending so much time there already, and I knew that we could we need to be on the map. We were a new organization, and I just felt that we were able to work together with the Sacramento Association of Realtors and create, what we're doing, collaborating not only with SAR, but all the other sibling organizations. I knew we could do greater things. And I believe it's been very successful to our growth.
And I think in the future, as we talk about what's going to happen, that they're going to be a big supporter, a big push for us, because they're a big backer of everything that we're doing. And I think all of that started with your year, Mari. It was your work with the internship program, all those things that really helped us out. So thank you for that. Why do you think it's so important? You mentioned it earlier that you think homeownership is super important, and all of us that are involved in NORA think that, but in your career, what have you seen that impact have on families?
It has been such a great impact for our families. Obviously, I started in the height of the market in 2005, 2006, 2007, when the houses were selling, like como pan caliente, como decimos. I felt the need that, okay, you already sold the house, but you also have to be there during the tough times, right? So you're there during the tough times. Those same clients, they become your clients for life. And their kids are now buying houses with me, because you believe in the mission. You believe that everybody should own a home, and also to show that they can if they were able to do it, like my dad, they came from Mexico. He only finished third grade, and he was able to put a roof over our head. They become our role models. And I see it now with my clients' kids buying houses from me. So we're the bridge, but obviously, with our help, with NORA, with all these events that we're doing, I think we're narrowing that bridge. There's so many great programs. There's such great agents out there. There's great loan officers. Everybody, we're blessed now to have this network, to have the social media that we have now.
So one of the things I've always felt that was missing is education. Not intelligence, because some people always mistake the lack of education for a lack of intelligence. It's not that. Just people need realtors, not just to find a home.
And if you're not ready at that time, prepare. I get clients from 3 years ago. I do my buyer's consultations, and I never say no to an appointment. They come and then they go, and I'm like, oh, maybe, if I was able to help someone, it's okay. And then they called me like 3 years later,
Yeah.
and they're like, Marisol, we're ready.
We
You
did
know,
this, we took care of
yes.
that, we paid off that.
And it's not only about buying their first home. You know, we have a lot of our clients, they come to me and I see them like, do you have a 401k? And they're like, no, we don't.
Nice.
We never set ourselves up to that. I'm like, well, you do have money. Why don't you invest? So like our responsibility not only stops on just selling them their first home, but also teaching them how they can become investors, you know, how they can,
Protect
you
their
know,
assets.
yeah, exactly. Like how they can own another home,
Yes.
you know, or multiple homes. I have plenty of my clients, you know, and they're like, Marisol, you know, we have a little bit of money. What can we do with this?
Yeah.
You know, so I think everything is about collaboration and be creative and see, hey, you know, you're able to do it. You know, think about owning another home, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that just planting that seed, it's so important.
I love that you talked about, you didn't directly talk about it, but you were talking about other things that you're teaching them. I know you personally, you guys just recently, maybe a month or two ago, did your first trust class.
Estate planning
There we
class.
go. Sorry.
Yeah, we started, we've done 3 this year. You know, I get clients, they come to me when they're already very sick, you know, and they're like, Marisol, how do we protect our assets? And so for us, it was also very important to do these estate planning classes. You know, we brought a couple of attorneys, and that's something that I want to continue doing because it is very important to have our community involved, because we don't believe in that, you know, it's a taboo, you know. Every time you talk about your parents dying, oh my God, don't say that, you know.
Yeah.
So it is a taboo in our community, yeah.
You
But
bring up a will for your parents and they're asking, what, you want me to die?
Exactly. So so it is very important to not only educate clients on how to purchase a home, but also how to protect their assets.
Yeah. Part of our role in NORA isn't just to educate the clients, our future clients, but also the agents that are in this. Too many times we get so caught up in learning just enough to write a contract, just enough to sell a house. But we forget what happens after, what happens during, you know, educating them so that lifelong, they understand how everything works, so that when it's time, they know what's next.
Educate yourself, like continue. I mean, there's so much free stuff out there that you can take advantage of. So
when people are asking me, what do we get from NORA? I'll leave that to you. What do you think people get from their $100?
People do not know that we only keep, as an organization, as our greater Sacramento chapter, we only keep $25. You know, the rest of it goes to scholarships. You know, and $50 will go to scholarships. And you get so much for your money. Not only our lunch and learns, which are free for our members, we get the education, we get the knowledge, and also we're creating a really great community. You know, through this organization, I met so many
like-minded people.
Yeah.
Because us as realtors, us as loan officers, we're the people who actually are seeing the real people in need, the families that actually need it. So our goals as we move through 2026 and beyond is to give away $1 million. Okay? And not stop there. I know during my year, my goal is 100,000, but I think that's too small. I mean, I can't wait till we get to add a 0 to everything, to where people see the value so much so that they'd be willing to pay that much more to be a part of what we're doing.
And the money's there. The money is definitely there. We just really have to work together, and obviously we need support. You know, continue with the support. You know, at the same time, we just have to be there. You know, and be present and continue doing what we're doing, and it's achievable.
I'm glad you said that, Mari, because we do need each and every one of you to attend these events, and a lot of it isn't just so that you see what we're doing. But also, when you're at an event that you maybe think you already know about, or you think maybe isn't as important to you right now, remember that our sponsors give money because you guys attend. So when you guys come to our events, when you come to our Road to Homeownerships, to our lunch and learns, those pictures, those videos, those things that we're putting out on social media, our sponsors are looking at them because they invest in us, not just because of what we do, but also who's there.
Exactly. We might be small but mighty, and that's the main important thing,